Okay, solid and hazardous waste management. We have studied about the definitions, then typical waste generation rate. Then we have studied about the classification, that solid waste on source based classification. Then we have studied about the uh, different types, nature based classification. Then we have discussed the type based classification of solid waste, and in that garbage, ashes, rubbish, street sweepings, hazardous waste, sewage waste, and dead animals are included. Along with that, construction and demolition waste, bulk waste. Okay. Then we have also discussed about the 3R formula, that is reduce, reuse, and recycle. I have given the example of newspaper, as well as I have given the example of plastic bags for. So accordingly, we have discussed about the 3R formula. 3R formula is the base of solid waste management. Solid waste, it is the waste in the solid form which is not in use. For the disposal or for the storage of solid waste, we need huge amount of land, and land is a valuable resource. And after a longer period, a heap of solid waste are going to be collected. This is the first thing. Then the second thing, that land will not be in a use for any other purposes if you are storing it. Then in that case, you are supposed to go for the treatment to that, or you are supposed to dispose it properly. Then you can use that land, or it will not create the unhygienic environment. But instead of doing all these activity, if every civilian start following the 3R formula, the rate of solid waste generation will reduce automatically. And this 3R formula is nothing but reduce the use of plastic materials for multiple purposes. Wherever possible, you take your own cloth bag and for the market, and collect the material in the cloth bag. Don't carry the plastic bag. So you are reducing the use of plastic. Okay. Then reuse. So if at all you have used the plastic bag, you are supposed to use it for the multiple purposes. Then for these purposes, wherever there are the requirements of plastic bags, you are saving it. So reuse will help you to save the requirements. And if there is no requirement, there is no demand, there will not be the production. Is it? Supply and demand will start balancing over there. Then recycle. So many of the times you are wasting plastic materials or newspapers. Instead of that, if you are recycling the material towards the same industry as a raw material, that can save the trees for the as a raw material required for the raw material, as well as it will save our environment from that kind of huge amount of production in the society. Okay, so the 3R formula is the crux, or it is the base of solid waste management. You are studying management. Okay, how to manage the disposal, treatment, everything. So the next, up to this part we have studied in the last lecture. Now we are going to study about the classification of municipal solid waste. Based upon decomposability of that municipal solid waste. Municipal solid waste, MSW, stands for municipal solid waste. Okay, so many of the time in an exam it is written MSW, and you will say what is meant by MSW. We are not knowing. It is a municipal solid waste. Okay, based on the decomposability, municipal solid waste classifies into two types, that is non-decomposable and decomposable waste. So what about non-decomposable and what about decomposable type of waste? So non-decomposable waste is the waste which will not getting degraded with the natural or artificial methods. Okay, natural method in the sense, if you are keeping up food aside, after some time it will naturally start degradation and it will convert into manure. That is the different thing that it is also emitting the air pollutants into the atmosphere, is it? Then the decomposable waste, will not be decomposed either by the natural method or by the artificial method. Artificial method in the sense composting, biogas production, generation, these kind of material you are using. So decomposable material will get decomposed with the natural as well as artificial methods. Non-decomposable material will not get decomposed by the natural as well as artificial methods. Okay, so what are the different types of different methods for the decomposition of waste? In that, biogas generation, composting, vermicomposting, is it? So these are the methods for the decomposition. Landfilling. Then based on combustibility, first is the based on the decomposability, it is going to be classified into non-decomposable and decomposable. Example of non-decomposable: plastic, rubber, metals, etc. And non-decomposable waste: newspaper, food waste, agricultural waste, that will be under the decomposable type of waste. Now, the next classification we are going to discuss, and that classification is nothing but the based on combustibility. Based on combustibility, the solid waste is municipal solid waste is getting classified into two types, that is combustible waste and non-combustible waste. Combustible waste in the sense it will combust, it will produce, convert into, it will, there will be a huge reduction of volume. बरोबर आहे. समजा 10 किलो कचरा तुमच्याकडे शिल्लक आहे आणि आता कुठे ठेवायचा तो, इतक्याशा छोट्याशा घरात 10 किलो कचरा कुठे ठेवायचा? सो 10 किलो कचरा ठेवायला आता 10 दिवस गाडी पण येणार नाहीये कचऱ्याची. इन दॅट केस, if it is the combustible type, you can burn it. Okay, so there will be a volume reduction up to 90% volume reduction is possible after the combustion. So 10 kg will convert into 1 kg, is it? So that is not that much difficult to store it. So like this, if it is the combustible one, then it will be classified into under the combustible. And the non-combustible waste, which will not be getting combust, like the glass, metals, is it? So melting of these material is possible with a specific arrangement at a very high temperature that is not affordable at our level. So we are considering that as a non-combustible types of municipal solid waste. Okay, so I request the to write this classification, and then within 1 minute we will go for the next topic. Over. Shall we go to the next point? That one. Derived general derived differential equation, derived differential. So okay, हे आपण जी टाइप करून व्यवस्थित फॉर्म मध्ये लिहू शकतो आणि ह्याचे आन्सर शिफ्ट असतील. ओके, आपला कसं झालं 18 19 झालं ना, हे सब्जेक्ट वाइज आहे. 19 20 आहे काय सगळे सगळ्या सब्जेक्टचे आहेत का एका सब्जेक्टचे? सगळ्या सब्जेक्ट आहे, सगळ्या सब्जेक्टचे. फक्त फर्स्ट सेमिस्टरचे मिळालं, सेकंडचं नाही मिळालं. ठीक आहे, मग ते तयार करू. काहींचे पेपर मिळाले नाही, पण सोल्युशन सगळ्यांचे आहे. सोल्युशन सगळ्यांचे असू देत, उलट आपल्याला सोल्युशन असेल तर पेपर तयार करायला वेळ लागणार नाही. Okay, we'll move to the next. That is biodegradable, explained over here. Biodegradable waste, mainly organic waste, such as peeling of potatoes, bananas, sawdust, and water dumped within the municipal environments, etc. Whatever the material degrades, basically organic waste material, and these constitute the bulk of waste generated. And what is the non-biodegradable waste? It is polythene bags, plastic products, pesticide residues, process waste, highly inflammable and volatile substances, furniture, abandoned vehicles, used tires, industries waste, including metal scrap, and medical waste such as used needles, plastics, and glass bottles or the syringe. These are identified as a non-biodegradable type of waste. Are you getting the difference between biodegradable and non-biodegradable? Biodegradable in the sense it gets decomposed by the natural environment or by the artificial environment. Is it? That is the biodegradable. But non-biodegradable will never get degraded by the natural or artificial environment. And the examples are given here for biodegradable waste is the bananas, means whatever the organic waste, banana, sawdust, water, and then potatoes or whatever the food waste, is it? That is the biodegradable. Agricultural waste, this will be biodegradable waste. But we are talking about the municipal solid waste, so here we cannot take the example of agricultural waste. Food waste or the vegetable waste or the fruit waste, then meat waste, that will be considered under the biodegradable municipal solid waste. And what will be considered under the non-biodegradable municipal solid waste? It is furniture, vehicles, then tires, industrial waste, then scrap material, medicines, biomedical type of waste. In that, needles, plastic, glass bottles, syringe, etc. will be considered under the non-biodegradable type of municipal solid waste. Okay, now we will see the characteristics of the waste. So first I request to write down what are the different characteristics of waste. Okay, done. So the characteristics of waste are the physical characteristics, composition, density, and moisture content. So we'll see first the physical properties of municipal solid waste or physical characteristics of the municipal solid waste. These properties are important to estimate volume or weight of waste for transportation, disposal, or processing. Whenever you are planning to transport the municipal solid waste, you should understand the characteristics of municipal solid waste, whether it is hazardous, whether it is capable to carry, whether it is heavy, whether it is it contains liquid or not. Everything you need to understand. So the first one, the physical properties of the or the physical characteristic of municipal solid waste. These characteristics are important to estimate volume. Is it? किती मोठा कंटेनर लागणार आहे हे कॅरी करण्यासाठी, or weight of waste for transportation, disposal or processing. Okay, for all these purpose you need to understand the physical property of municipal solid waste. What includes under the physical properties of municipal solid waste? Specific weight or the density that you know, then the moisture content, then particle size and size distribution, then permeability or hydraulic conductivity. These are the factors included under the physical characteristics of municipal solid waste. So please write down these physical characteristics of municipal solid waste. Shall we move to the next point? Next characteristics of municipal solid waste. Hydraulic conductivity means what? Please explain. Mahesh Saunke. Hydraulic conductivity, permeability or hydraulic conductivity in the sense if you are have stored a solid waste or kept at aside, and how much water is being passed through that, or how much water holding capacity of that particular waste is nothing but the hydraulic permeability of municipal solid waste. Am I clear? Actually, there is a formula. I'm trying to find that formula for finding out the hydraulic permeability. It is the property of particular material, which indicates the whatever the liquid, whether it is passing through that or not. Is it? If it is the high permeability, then it will allow to flow the fluid maximum rapidly. And if there is a low permeability, then less amount of fluid will be passed through that particular waste. Is it? So that way it is the hydraulic permeability. I'm trying to search the formula. If I'm getting, I had written somewhere in my notes. I will check and I will tell you. Just give me a few seconds. Not finding that actually. If I get it, I will explain, inform you that. Okay. Do you understand? if something in one of the container you have kept the amount of solid waste, and then some precipitation is there, then the whether that liquid is passing away from that municipal solid waste, or whether it is absorbed by that particular municipal solid waste, that is nothing but the hydraulic conductivity or the permeability of that particular municipal solid waste. Permeability or the hydraulic conductivity of that waste. Why it is important actually? If I am getting that formula, I will be able to explain with that. Give me 2 minutes still.
मॅडम
Yes, please.
मॅडम ते परमेबिलिटी म्हणजे काय ते समजलंय, परंतु ते त्याला ऑर मध्ये हायड्रोलिक कंडक्टिव्हिटी असं नाव का दिलंय ते समजलं नाही.
अच्छा, okay. Permeability in the sense allowing to flow the water. How much porosity जितकी जास्त असेल तितकं तुम्हाला water flow त्या particular मटेरियल मधून पास होतं, किंवा पोरोसिटी जर कमी असेल तर तेवढं रिजिडनेस असतो, बरोबर आहे. तर हायड्रॉलिक कंडक्टिव्हिटी आणि परमेबिलिटी ही दोन्ही टर्म एकच आहे, की हाऊ इझिली द वॉटर इज अलाउड टू फ्लो इन, फ्लुइड इज अलाउड टू फ्लो इन द पर्टिक्युलर मटेरियल इज नथिंग बट द हायड्रॉलिक कंडक्टिव्हिटी. Are you getting how easily the fluid is allowed to flow in the particular porous material? In the particular porous material, it is known as the hydraulic conductivity. These are the similar terminologies. Actually, in a fluid mechanics, you might have studied that hydraulic conductivity. While studying the nature of, or you might have studied in geotech also, while studying the nature of soil. Is it? So I have written somewhere that separate slides of that. In that you are understanding the pore size and pore connectivity for finding out the hydraulic conductivity. Hydraulic conductivity usually calculated denoted by the K, and that formula is there. I'm not getting that now. I have to search somewhere. Okay, I will try to search in the next lecture because I'm wasting here time, and then I will give you the formula how to find out the hydraulic conductivity of solid waste. Is it? Then we'll go to the next one, is the chemical properties of municipal solid waste. In that, first is the proximate analysis. What is meant by proximate analysis? It is the how much moisture content is there, what is the volatility of that particular municipal solid waste, ash and carbon content of that particular municipal solid waste, finding of moisture content, finding of volatility of that waste, and finding out the ash content or the fixed carbons is nothing but the proximate analysis. Then fusing point of ash is the chemical characteristic of chemical property of the municipal solid waste. Then ultimate analysis, in that you will get know how much amount of carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen is present in the municipal solid waste. Accordingly, once you know the chemical properties, that is moisture content, volatility, fixed carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen content or the oxygen content, accordingly you can judge, you can comment how much amount of waste, what type of waste will emit after the decomposition or the degradation by natural method or artificial method. Okay, that's for that purpose proximate analysis or the ultimate analysis of that particular municipal solid waste is required. You should know the characteristics of that municipal solid waste. Then the energy content, how much heating value of that particular solid waste is the energy content. Then the leaching property applicable to hazardous waste fraction in municipal solid waste, permeability in soil. Now, here that permeability factor is also matters here. Leaching properties, what is meant by leaching properties, do you know? I think we have discussed in the last subject. What is meant by leaching property? Whenever some moisture is being applied or the water is being applied to the solid waste, degradable type of solid waste, at that time, during the decomposition of that solid waste, a dark brown color liquid will produce, and that liquid is nothing but the leachate. So that leaching property applicable to hazardous waste fraction in municipal solid waste. Permeability in soil. Why we should understand the leaching properties? Because that leachate is going to be percolate in a soil. Okay, so how thick, what is the concentration of that leachate? If it is thick one, then it will be while percolation in a soil, the solid particles or the organic impurities in a solid form present into that leachate will remain at the surface and the liquid will pass. If it is not that much concentrated, it will allow to pass during the percolation in a soil. Okay, that's why these leaching chemical properties are most important to understand for deciding the treatment to the solid waste than the physical properties. Physical properties are important to understand for while deciding the transportation and travel of that particular municipal solid waste. But for giving treatment or for taking the decision in respect of disposal of municipal solid waste, you need to understand the chemical properties. Otherwise, glass material is there and you are going for the land filling method. Will it be fine? No, it will not be fine. In that case, you should separate out the non-degradable material, and for only degradable type of material, what type of treatment you can use, that you should think. And for non-degradable type of waste, what you need to do, that also you need to think. That's why the chemical properties, understanding of the chemical properties are very important while taking the decision in respect of disposal of solid waste. Okay, or any kind of treatment of the solid waste. Understood? So please write down these chemical properties. Have you finished?